If you're looking for the traditional light bar look and function for your 2020 or newer JT Gladiator, this Raxium 52-inch dual row LED light bar with the windshield mounting brackets will be a great choice to consider. I do want to mention that this will not fit the Mojave model, so just keep that in mind when you're checking this system out. Nonetheless, this will offer a ton of light at a solid price point and be a complete package for the JT owner who's looking for a full kit to get some of the most visibility that they can, whether you are taking the Gladiator off-road at night, live in a more remote area, or just want the ability to light up the path in front of you for those just-in-case scenarios. This will have 103 watt Cree LEDs that are high intensity and span the entire windshield that will allow this light bar to illuminate whatever that you need to see in front of you, even on the darkest nights. It will also feature a combo beam pattern, meaning that the outer portion of the light bar will have a flood beam, which will be a bit wider for good peripheral visibility, and in the center, the lights will act as a spot beam, being direct and offering good distance. Now that combo will greatly improve the range of view that you get with this light bar, offering the distance and the width that you need to see well at night. The kit will also feature the windshield mounting brackets, allowing you to angle this however you'd like, and will add in some style with the detailed cutouts throughout this metal build. Now when it comes to the construction, both the windshield brackets here and the light bar are going to be tough. Now starting with the brackets, these will have a steel build with a black powder coat on top, being solid and rust resistant to the weather over time. The light bar will also be solid with a glass lens that will be thick and impact resistant, an aluminum housing to help with radiating heat well, and a black coating on top to resist any corrosion on the aluminum underneath. The light will also be IP67 rated to avoid any water, dust, or any micro-contaminants from getting in and potentially harming the LEDs. The kit will also come with all of the hardware to install it, like longer bolts for the cowls and a wiring harness for a complete plug-and-play install. This kit is about $550, which again is a solid price point for what's included. Now compared to others, like I said before, this has that classic light bar look as opposed to others that may try to take a more unique approach to the appearance. Now instead, this will have that straight dual row design and won't fail with offering a lot of light output, especially at a more affordable price point compared to others this size. Now it will also be a complete kit, so you won't have to outsource for other components to piece it together, making it a great choice for your JT. Install here will be a pretty easy 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter and should only take about an hour to get the job done with some basic hand tools. Now at this point we can head over to our shop and check out a detailed breakdown on how you can get this onto your JT at home. So that is going to wrap it up for my review. Let's go ahead and jump into the install.
Tools required for this install include a ratchet, some zip ties, scissors or diagonal cutters, 6mm Allen socket, a T40 Torx socket, 12 and 13mm sockets, and a box knife or razor blade. What's up guys? Today we're installing a light bar on our Gladiator, so let's get started. So the first thing we have to do is remove a few of our bolts right at the bottom corner of our windshield to install our mounting brackets. We're going to remove these 2 on the side and the one up top that's closest to the windshield. So grab a T40 Torx socket and we'll pop those out. And do the same thing on the other side. So now we're all set to get our mounting brackets in place, but first we have to take these foam pads and mount them up to where this is going to be touching the paint. So we have a few different pads here. This one with the 2 holes is going to go at the bottom. We've got the one with the single hole that's going to go here. And then we have 2 strips that are going to run up along the side here. For this one, we have kind of a hard angle here, so I've got a razor blade just to cut it and shape it to how we need it. So I'm going to start on the pad with the single hole here. So just go ahead and peel your backing. I'm going to peel it back about halfway to get started. And then just line it up with the edge here. And then press that down. Fold up the back and just work your backing off while you stick it down. And then we can go to our second one here. We're gonna do kind of the same thing. Peel back to expose that first hole. And get it all lined up. And keep working your way across. Get that all stuck down. And then you're gonna take one of your long strips and run it around this bend up until just about this first circle. Just peel the backing, meet it up to your bottom pad, and then just work your way around that bend. And then grab your second one. This is the one you're gonna need that box knife for. Peel the backing, meet it up to that pad. And then once we get to this hard turn, I'm gonna take that knife, make a relief cut there. And then we can bend this to where we need it. And then you can kind of feel where the first piece stops. So just take your box knife again and just cut following that line. Pull that piece off, and then we got like a perfect edge right there. And then you can just keep working it around that bend. And then same thing on this harder bend. Make your relief cut, bend it how you need it to go, and then just feel that edge. Make your cut, and then work it the rest of the way up. And now do that same thing for your other mounting bracket, and we'll get these on the Jeep. So now we're ready to install our mounting bracket. So before we lift this up, we have a spacer that's gonna go on the top here. So just drop that into place. And then you can raise it up. We've got these two holes sticking out to fill that gap there. And then we can start installing our bolts. We have a longer one that's gonna go to the top. Drop that in and get our thread started. And then our two shorter ones are gonna go in from the side. And now just take your T40 Torx socket and tighten these down. And then repeat the same process on the other side. So now we just need to get our light bars set up to go onto our mounting brackets. To do that, we have these Allen head bolts with a lock washer and a flat washer. There's gonna be one for each side. We're gonna thread it into the hole on the side, and then we're gonna slide it into our mounting brackets. So just get a couple threads in, and then grab yourself a buddy, slide it on both sides, and you can both tighten them down. So now I've got my buddy to help me lift the light bar up on that side. We're gonna slide it into the slot on the top of our mounting bracket. I've got a 6mm Allen socket on my ratchet so we can get this aimed properly. I'll tighten my side down and then pass the ratchet over so he can tighten his side down. So then just angle this how you like it and tighten down that bolt. So now comes the fun part of running our wire into our engine bay to connect up to our harness. Now you can do this pretty much any way you like. The simplest way I found is just running it right behind this hinge, underneath this outer panel, and then we even have a little hole for it in this foam to pass through into our engine bay. Now this is a little counterintuitive because we're going to be undoing a lot of the stuff we just did, but we're going to remove the 2 bolts up top, 2 bolts on the side, at which point we can pull this piece out, run our wire underneath, and then just put our piece back in, replace our bracket, and reinstall our bolts. So grab that T40 Torx socket again and pull your bolts out. And then just get a hand to support it here before you remove the last one. And then just slide this out of the way. Pull this piece out. And then run your wire underneath the bracket, behind here, and tuck it under. Slide this piece back in, and then you can carefully lay your bracket back down. Take that long bolt included in the kit and get that threading into the top hole first, and then you can pull some of that excess wire through. I am going to be kind of tucking it in the windshield gap here, so just make sure you have enough wire for that. And then you can reinstall your remaining bolts. And now you can go ahead and tighten down your bolts. So now you can just go ahead and tuck your wire, and then we can hop into the engine bay and worry about the rest of our harness. So now we're going to do the rest of our wiring. I've got the hood open, I've got our wire harness laid across the engine bay, kind of how it's going to go. Now I've got our relay as well as our power and our ground wires that are going to go to our battery over on the battery side. And then I'm going to run the wires across the cowl here over to the other side where we'll connect up to our light bar. And we also have our switch that will run through a grommet and into the cabin. So I'm going to start off on our battery. We'll come to the positive and pop this little cover off. And then I'm just going to remove this 12mm nut with a 12mm socket. And then I'm going to take my red wire, lay that on top, and thread that nut back on. Take the same 12mm socket and tighten it down. Then you can replace your cover. And now switch to a 13mm socket to remove the nut on the negative. Slide your negative on. Thread the nut back into place and tighten it down. And then this relay, we can just tuck right into the battery box here. And I'm going to run the wires behind the fuse box, and then we'll go up to the cowl and zip tie it the rest of the way across. So now we can start running our wires over to the other side. You can do this however you'd like, but you want to stay away from anything that's hot or anything that's moving. So we have these tabs here that we can run a zip tie through and then just get them nice and tight around here. That's the best way I've found to do it. We've got a similar setup on the other side, so we can just cleanly run it around the back. It's not going to be in the way of anything. So run your zip tie through around your 2 wires. And then just pull it tight. Then take a pair of scissors or diagonal cutters and cut off the excess of that zip tie. And then just do that same thing, working your way across. And again, pull it nice and tight. Take the slack out of the wires. And then crank down on your zip tie and cut off the excess. So now over on the other side, we have these 2 tabs on the bracket for our coolant reservoir. So I'm probably just gonna use the first one and then use the same piece that I used on the other side for my other zip tie. And once again, just pull your slack before you tighten it all down. So now you can separate your 2 wires and grab the wire leading to your switch. Right next to the brake booster here, there's a grommet that you're gonna pop out, and then you can run this through the grommet and into the cabin. Now, since we've done so many of these types of installs, our grommet's missing, but it's pretty easy to just pop out. And then you can just get your hand down in there. Slide that switch into the cabin. Now once we have our switch through that hole, we can focus on our other wire that's going to connect up to our light bar. So we've got this little foam trim piece here that you can just kind of pull to get that slot over, and then that'll reveal the connector from our light bar. So then there is a slot in here that you're going to line up with a tab on this connector. So just connect it up just like that, and then you can slide your cap over, and this is just going to screw in. And then there's a little O-ring on the other side to keep this nice and watertight. So now with that connected up, we're just gonna zip tie up all of this excess wire, bunch it all together, and then we can slide it back into that cal area. Now in our foam piece, there is a cutout here where this wire passes through, so we can just use that to run our wire through, and then we'll put that slot back into place. So first things first, bunch up all of that excess wire. Grab yourself a zip tie. Tie it up, cut off that excess, and then just slide that into place. And then tuck your wire underneath of that foam piece. Slide your foam back into place. And then we can go inside the cabin and mount up our switch. So now just hop in the cabin, grab your switch off the floor, and then you can mount this up anywhere you'd like. You can go right down here out of the way. You can go up to here if you want to see that wire. I'm going to put it down here towards the bottom, and then we have this little kick panel that we can tuck all of our excess wire behind. So pull the double-sided tape backing off, and then just line it up and stick it down. And then you can just tuck all of your excess wire into that kick panel. And I'll keep it nice and out of the way, away from the pedals or anything it can get caught on. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the Raxiom 52-inch dual row LED light bar with windshield mounting brackets for your 2020 and newer Jeep Gladiator JT, excluding Mojave. Thank you for watching, and for all things Gladiator, keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.